If I told you there are places in America where you can literally live for free, like mortgage zero, rent zero, utility bills lower than your self-respect after texting your ex, would you believe me? No? Good. That means you're still sane. But buckle up, because these towns are quietly giving away land, housing, and deals so cheap they feel like a federal sting operation. Welcome to the side of America nobody advertises. The places where living expenses are so microscopic, you'd think they shrank in the dryer. Forget those influencer cities with $6 lattes and $4,000 studio apartments. We're talking about hidden towns that will practically pay you to exist. Now, before you pack your bags and start Googling how to survive in the woods, remember, every one of these places has a catch. Some are remote, some are weird, some are so quiet you can hear your neighbor blinking. But in all of them, the cost of living is so low it breaks several known laws of economics. Here's what's coming. A town where you can claim free land like it's a 19th century reboot nobody asked for. A place where the local grocery store doubles as the community gossip center. And a city where utilities are cheaper than your last impulse DoorDash order. What a time to be alive. So before we jump into the chaos, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment which state you're from, so I know which places I'm legally allowed to roast next. What you're about to see will either inspire you or convince you to cling to your overpriced city like a scared raccoon. City number 7, Moriah, New York. Welcome to Moriah, New York, where the town literally gives away land for free. Yes, free. As in the same price your cousin charges for exposure. If you've ever dreamed of owning property without selling a kidney, this obscure upstate town might become your personal rags to riches side quest. Let's set the stage. Population? Around 4,000 brave souls who apparently enjoy winters that slap harder than your immigrant parents' discipline. Geography? You're tucked right between Lake Champlain and the Adirondacks, meaning your backyard could either be peaceful, breathtaking wilderness, or a moose staring into your soul at 5 a.m. The major industry used to be iron mining, which explains why the place feels like a historical documentary someone forgot to finish editing. Now, why is it free? Because Moriah wants new residents, tax revenue, and signs of life that aren't just migrating deer. They'll hand you a parcel of land for $0 under one condition. You actually build a house within the required time frame. Basically, it's free real estate, but with a municipal side-eye. Local vibe? Imagine a Reddit comment that says, "We don't have much, but the stars are crazy, the neighbors wave, and the worst crime we've had recently is a raccoon stealing someone's sandwich." That's Moriah. But don't let the wholesomeness fool you. Living here means embracing quirks. Drivers move at 2 speeds. Tractor casual, and I have to beat the snowstorm. Shopping options. Let's just say you're not finding a Whole Foods. The closest thing is probably a gas station that sells bait, batteries, and suspiciously good donuts. And that winter? Oh, baby. The wind here doesn't just blow, it interrogates you. It hits your face like you owe it money. Your eyelashes will freeze into tiny icicles, and you will question every decision that led you to this moment. But come summer, it's absolutely gorgeous. You'll step outside and smell pine trees, lake air, and that faint nostalgic scent of, I might never pay rent again. Picture this. You walk outside your newly built cabin, coffee steaming in your hand. A bird chirps, a breeze drifts by. Then suddenly, bam, a deer sprints across your yard like it's late for a job interview. Peaceful, but with jump scare settings turned on. So, would you live here? City number 6, Marquette, Kansas. Welcome to Marquette, Kansas, one of the few places in America where the government basically looks you in the eye and says, "Hey, you want some free land? Please? We're begging." And honestly, respect. Not enough cities admit they need new residents the way people admit they need therapy. Marquette is a tiny town of roughly 640 humans. Yes, you could fit the entire population, into a mid-sized Costco. Geography-wise, it sits in the middle of Kansas, surrounded by rolling plains that look like the default wallpaper for a Windows XP computer. It's peaceful, spacious, and quiet enough that you can hear your own intrusive thoughts echo. Industries? Mostly agriculture, small businesses, and whatever side hustles the locals invent, because the town is the definition of, if you're bored, that's your own fault. But it's the why behind the free land that makes Marquette interesting. They want families, community, and literally anyone willing to build a home and stick around. They're not giving away tiny scraps either. These are decent-sized lots in a proper neighborhood with paved roads, utilities, and street names that sound like they were approved by someone's sweet grandma. But let's be honest, you're not moving here for the nightlife. The nightlife is a cricket. One singular cricket. And he clocks out early. The nearest major city is about an hour away, which explains why Amazon Prime delivery here sometimes feels like it's being shipped by horse. Still, Marquette is charming in a Hallmark movie filmed on a budget kind of way. Locals greet you. People know your name. If your car breaks down, 3 strangers will show up with jumper cables and unsolicited life advice. One local supposedly said online, "We don't have traffic here. If you hit a red light, it's probably a sunset." The vibe is wholesome, bordering on suspicious. Now, Marquette's biggest flex is its scenery. The town sits near Canopolis State Park, meaning hiking, biking, fishing, and views so pretty, they make your phone camera feel underqualified. You can stand on a ridge, look out over the prairie, and suddenly understand why settlers were like, "Yeah, good enough, let's stop here." But there are quirks. Kansas weather changes moods faster than a teenager. One second it's sunny, next second the sky goes, "Surprise tornado watch." The wind doesn't just blow, it aggressively auditions for a personality. And depending on the season, bugs come in flavors no one ordered. Picture this. You step outside your new debt-free house. It's quiet, too quiet. Then you hear it, the faint hum of a lawnmower 4 blocks away. It's not annoying, it's comforting. You take a deep breath of that fresh Kansas air, and for a moment, you forget that you used to pay $2,400 a month for a shoebox in the city. City number 5, Harmony, Minnesota. Welcome to Harmony, Minnesota, a place so wholesome sounding it feels like the setting of a children's book. Until you learn the town is handing out free land like Oprah in a Midwestern plot twist. You get a lot. You get a lot. The only thing missing is Oprah herself emerging from the cornfields. Population? Around 1,000 residents, basically a large group project where everyone actually participates. Geography-wise, Harmony sits near the Iowa border, surrounded by green hills, rolling farmland, and caves. Yes, caves. The town is home to Niagara Cave, one of the largest show caves in the Midwest. Exactly what you wanted, free land and a geological side quest. Industries here revolve around agriculture, tourism, because cave people love caves, and small businesses. If you're thinking, why would a cute little place like this give away land? Easy. They want new families, fresh energy, younger residents, and someone under the age of 40 who knows how to update a Facebook page. And boy, do they make it tempting. The lots they offer are fully serviced, meaning water, sewer, and utilities are already hooked up. You're not building a cabin in the wilderness, you're building a normal house in an actual neighborhood. It's one of those rare offers that makes you recheck the website to confirm it's not a scam, run by someone using a Hotmail address. Local vibe? Imagine walking into a town where people smile without reasons you need to question. A Reddit-style comment basically summed it up. "We don't lock our doors because the only thief here is the wind stealing your hat." Charming, suspicious, and comforting simultaneously. But let's address the unavoidable Minnesota winters. The cold here isn't just cold. It's a personality, a lifestyle, a villain arc. The wind doesn't gently breeze by, it attempts to exfoliate your face for free. Snow piles up like it's trying to reach the federal minimum wage. If you move here, you must accept that for 4 to 5 months, your car, your driveway, and your will to live will all be frozen. Drivers? Slow, polite, and terrifyingly comfortable with icy roads. People wave at you from trucks the size of a studio apartment. And if you venture outside in January, you will hear the crunch of snow, the howl of winter, and your bones screaming, "Why did we come here?" But come summertime, it is beautiful. Green landscapes, outdoor festivals, farmers markets, Amish baked goods so good they'll ruin your relationship with store-bought food. Harmony even has bike trails stretching for miles through fields and forests. You'll go for a ride, smell fresh-cut hay, hear birds, and instantly forget that in winter you nearly lost a toe. Picture this. You wake up in your new Freeland home. Step outside. Birds are chirping. The air smells clean enough to trademark. You hear a distant tractor because of course you do. Then an Amish horse carriage rolls by like you accidentally walked into a historical reenactment. That's harmony, peaceful, surreal, and oddly cinematic. City number 4, Beatrice, Nebraska. Welcome to Beatrice, Nebraska, one of the only places in America where the government looks at you and says, "Hey, you want a homestead like it's 1862? We're bringing it back, baby." Yes, Beatrice revived the literal Homestead Act. Free land, modern era. Your ancestors are somewhere fist-pumping. Population? About 12,000. Big enough to avoid feeling like you're living in a group chat. Small enough that locals will absolutely notice when you try a new haircut. Geographically, it sits near the Kansas border, surrounded by farmland so flat and wide you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. The reason it's cheap is simple. Beatrice wants growth, bodies, and people with a pulse who plan to stay longer than a TikTok trend. They'll give you a lot at zero cost, no rent, no mortgage, no weird hidden processing fee, as long as you build a home within a set time frame. It's like a reality TV challenge, except the prize is housing and not a sponsored skincare deal. Local vibe? A resident online once said, "We're friendly, but don't expect nightlife. The nightlife is a Casey's gas station and maybe a guy named Earl juggling beer cans." That sounds like a red flag or a green flag depending on your personality. Life here is simple, peaceful, and occasionally weird. Drivers are polite but move like their foot is made of marshmallow. Every store closes earlier than your last relationship. And the wind? Oh, the wind! It blows through Beatrice like it's trying to speedrun a personality test. You step outside and suddenly your hair is auditioning for a weather documentary. But the charm is real. The town has parks, trails, classic diners, and a surprisingly active arts community. You'll find murals, small theaters, and enough community events to keep you social even if you're an introvert who hisses in sunlight. Picture this. You sip coffee on your porch, on land you paid $0 for. A soft breeze rolls through. Birds chirp. Across the street, a neighbor waves at you with the energy of someone who knows everyone's business but also brings good pies. Life is slow, cheap, and oddly comforting. City number 3, New Richmond, Wisconsin. Welcome to New Richmond, Wisconsin, a place so surprisingly affordable it feels like the universe accidentally mispriced it. You can genuinely live here for almost nothing compared to major cities. People move from Minneapolis, see the housing prices, and react like they just discovered a glitch in the Matrix. Population? Around 10,000 humans, plus an equal number of deer who act like they pay property taxes. Geography-wise, you're tucked in northwestern Wisconsin, about 45 minutes from the Twin Cities, close enough for city access, far enough that your cost of living doesn't make you cry in Target. Major industries include manufacturing, healthcare, and education. And why is it cheap? Because Wisconsin does this funny little thing where it offers relatively low housing costs, low utility bills, and just enough financial incentives that you start thinking, wait, am I the one being scammed? Or did I just stumble into a secret level of adulthood? Locals online describe it the same way people describe wholesome video game towns. We have everything you need, nothing you don't, and everyone waves even if we don't know you. Cute. Slightly unsettling. Midwest energy at its purest. But let's talk quirks. Drivers here are polite, almost too polite. You'll stop at a four-way intersection, and everyone will wave each other through for 45 seconds. The winters? Oh, buddy! Wisconsin cold is not just weather. It is an emotional journey. Your car will not just freeze, it will file a formal complaint. And the snow? It falls with the enthusiasm of a toddler dumping flour everywhere. Still, New Richmond is shockingly scenic. Lakes, forests, bike trails. It's like nature put on makeup for Instagram. Summers feel warm, friendly, and just chaotic enough to keep things interesting. The local restaurants and shops have that family-owned for 3 generations vibe that makes you feel guilty for ever buying at a chain store again. Picture this. You step out of your affordable home, breathe in crisp Wisconsin air, and hear the distant sound of someone scraping ice off their windshield with the emotional intensity of a Greek tragedy. A neighbor waves. A deer stares at you like you're trespassing on its land. Peaceful, weird, and strangely homey. Would you live here? City number 2, Toledo, Ohio. Welcome to Toledo, Ohio, one of America's cheapest mid-sized cities where the cost of living is so low it feels like someone misread the spreadsheet. You can actually live here for next to nothing, which is wild considering Toledo has real infrastructure. Real jobs, real restaurants, and not, like some of the other towns on this list, a population smaller than the cast of a reality show. Population? About 265,000 people, which makes Toledo shockingly big for how affordable it is. Geography-wise, it sits on the western tip of Lake Erie, giving you waterfront vibes and the occasional seagull screaming like it owes you money. Major industries include manufacturing, healthcare, logistics, and education. You know, real adult stuff. Why is it cheap? Easy. Decades of economic ups and downs left Toledo with tons of housing, tons of space, and a cost structure that makes your bank account whisper, "Thank you." It's one of the rare cities where you can rent an actual house, not a glorified broom closet, for the price of a premium Netflix subscription, back when password sharing was legal. Local vibe? Toledoans have a sense of humor about their city. Someone online described it as, "We're not fancy, but we're fun, and we have good food. And you can actually afford said food." It's the kind of place where residents roast their own town, but will fight you if you roast it too hard. But Toledo isn't perfect. Drivers here? Chaos with turn signals. The weather? Mood swings deluxe. 1 minute it's sunny. 5 minutes later, you're reenacting The Wizard of Oz. And let's not pretend Lake Erie doesn't occasionally waft in a smell that can only be described as fish with generational trauma. Still, Toledo has museums, parks, a zoo that's weirdly impressive, waterfront trails, minor league sports, breweries, theaters, actual amenities. Actual life. Actual things to do that don't involve watching corn grow. For a live-free lifestyle, it's one of the most complete packages you can get. Picture this. You step outside your affordable home, sip your coffee, and hear distant seagulls cursing at each other. Your neighbor waves. A breeze comes in off the lake, smelling like either summertime magic or mild confusion. Either way, it's peaceful. Would you live here? City number 1, Muskogee, Oklahoma. Welcome to Muskogee, Oklahoma. Quite possibly the cheapest full-size city in America, where you can live so affordably it feels like a clerical error. This is the kind of place where your housing costs are so low, your wallet gets separation anxiety. Population? About 36,000 people, big enough to give you all the essentials. Small enough that the cashier at Walmart might know your weekend plans. Geography-wise, you're in eastern Oklahoma, surrounded by rolling hills, rivers, and landscapes that make you wonder why no one ever films movies here. It looks like a cowboy drama waiting to happen. Major industries include manufacturing, healthcare, logistics, and tribal enterprises. Translation: real jobs, real economic activity, and a cost of living so tiny it could legally qualify as an endangered species. Homes here routinely list for prices that would barely get you a parking space in Los Angeles. A parking space? Not even a good one. Why is it cheap? A mix of economic history, Oklahoma's famously low cost of living, and a cultural refusal to let housing prices act wild. It's one of those cities where you can genuinely buy a decent home without sacrificing a limb, or selling feet pics ironically. Local vibe? Someone online said, Muskogee is calm, affordable, and friendly. Unless you're trying to find good sushi, then God help you. The people are warm. The pace of life is slow enough that you might actually rediscover hobbies you forgot existed. But it's not perfect. The weather is dramatic. Oklahoma storms don't just roll in. They enter like a WWE wrestler with theme music and pyrotechnics. Drivers here? Half incredibly courteous, half running on pure chaos energy. And don't even ask how far the nearest Trader Joe's is if you're sensitive. Still, Muskogee delivers something rare. Affordability with actual amenities. Restaurants, theaters, lakes, festivals, parks, pretty neighborhoods, and enough greenery to convince you the earth still cares. You can kayak, fish, grill in a backyard you own, and still have money left for hobbies, pets, or therapy, depending how your week went. Picture this. You sip sweet tea on your porch, wind breezing lightly, the sun dipping over the Oklahoma hills. Kids play outside. A neighbor waves. A storm cloud forms in the distance because nature likes drama, but it's beautiful. Calm. Real. So there you have it. The 7 hidden U.S. cities where you can basically live for free. Not free like those sketchy Instagram giveaways where you win a blender if you tag 14 friends. I mean real life cheap. Land giveaways, dirt low mortgages, utility bills that don't require divine intervention. Actual functioning towns where your wallet finally gets to retire early. And here's the thing nobody tells you. Living cheap doesn't mean living worse. In these places, you get space, peace, a backyard that isn't measured in inches, neighbors who wave instead of pretending you don't exist, and sunsets that slap harder than your worst financial decisions. Sure, every place has a catch. Snow that bites, winds that bully, bugs that unionize, but honestly, isn't that everywhere? At least in these towns, you're not paying $3,500 a month to hear your upstairs neighbor reenact WWE at 2 a.m. But now it's your turn. Which one secretly tempted you? Which one made you say, absolutely not, I choose life? Drop your answer in the comments so the algorithm thinks I'm important. And before you escape, subscribe. And tell me the next state, city, or hidden gem you want me to expose. Because trust me, this rabbit hole goes way deeper. Hole goes way deeper. Hole goes way deeper. Hole goes